Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world, and welcome to Minor League Esports presented by APM Music. I am your happy-go-lucky hooligan host, Captain at Soka, but I am joined in the booth by none other than Junior P Cube. Junior, how are you feeling tonight?
Feeling good, looking excited to get into some awesome matches. We're kicking it off with an absolute banger of a premier match in the Forge division. It's going to be the Jets and the Spartans. We couldn't ask for a better matchup. Jets are 6-4, Spartans are 5-5. It's about as close as you can ask for. It's going to be a fun one to start off the night.
Yeah, and as you can see already on the Spartan side, we got Yor rocking the Season 2 Supersonic Legend tag. So that's just going to give you some type of a mindset of what we expect to see tonight, like what type of gameplay we're looking at when we're talking about the Premier League. So, you know, just because not everybody has their Supersonic Legend tag on doesn't mean we don't have SSLs in there. And then, you know, you're looking on the other side over there and you got Kitten Duck over there rocking the Season 11 Blizzard Wizard. And so, you know, we got all types of talents, you know, meeting on the board here tonight. And then we're looking at the Spartans. We got Fat Folly, Minto, and Yor. And then for the Jets, we got Wendell, Kitten Duck, and then Vitali. Vitali is a name that definitely most people should know and should recognize.
No, absolutely. Vitali rocking that 19 salary right now. I mean, he is an absolute unit of a man or woman right now. And I mean, to come out onto this field, he's going to be bringing the heat whatsoever. But I'm curious from you at Soka, who do you think is going to win this matchup? It looks like we're about to hop into game number one. And quite frankly, I can see this going either way.
I mean, I could see it going either way too, but just for the sake of argument and people in the chat, just to get a little bit of conflict going here, is to build up the hype of this story, I'm going to say that well, you know what? I'm gonna go Jets. Why? Because of Vitali. Because Vitali is a name that is so recognizable to me that I think they're gonna either A, carry the weight, or they're just gonna be the pinnacle player of their team to go and take the series, you know, in this matchup against the Spartans. So just to lay it out there, I'm gonna go Jets.
Well, this matchup is it's incredibly close. And, you know, if you're going to go ahead and lay it out there, I'm going to start some discussion as well. I think this is a primetime matchup for Spartan to take some games off of the Jets. I mean, these teams are both second and third, respectively, in the Forge division right now. Now is the perfect time to start taking games off your rivals and start moving up in the table. I'm going to have to go with the Spartans. I think that they've got the momentum, and I think they have the energy going into this. I think it's going to be an interesting game at that. But at the end of the day, I think that Mento, Yor, and Fat Folly, I think they're going to come out, have a banger. But it looks like we're already in game number one. It seems actually up rather than down, a little bit of technical difficulties. But I think the Spartans are going to take it. I can't bet against Yor. I've cast for him before. He's a solid player, and, well, I think the Spartans, I think they're going to take something.
Well, you know, this isn't really technical difficulties. We're just, you know, this is just the test lobby to make sure everybody is in agreement, because there's nothing worse than getting to a match and everybody's all ready to go and everything is underway and somebody's like, no, the server's wrong. You know, there's something wrong going on here. So just to avoid that, we like to run one or two test lobbies just to make sure that everything is on the up and up. But I'm liking the conflict that you and I are brewing right now. I'm going for the Jets. You're going for the Spartans. We got one orange, one blue, just the way the Rocket League Lords intended. And that's going to reflect also in the chat. So right now, it's not just about us, it's also about you at home. So let us know who you're rooting for down there in the chat. Are you going to be going for the Jets? Or are you going to be going for the Spartans? And just to make it even more conflicting for myself, I'm actually a friend also with some of the people on the Spartans. So just seeing that, you know, again, I hate to call against some people that I know and that I'm friends with, but I calls them like I sees them.
Hello? Am I still here? I think that I got knocked out a little bit. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I lost Discord for just a second there, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. I mean, this could really go either way. I mean, 6-4 versus 5-5. Both these teams are 1-1 on the season so far. Like, these teams have had both mathematically average starts to the season, but also as we move in, I mean, they're both pretty even in terms of skill and level. I think that Vitali is definitely going to be a problem for Spartans. That if the Spartans can deal with him, I think that maybe it's going to be a little bit different than we expect. But we're hopping into game number one right now. Kickoff immediately going in favor. Yor can take up possession, but no, it's going to rest. Vitali, he'll get his first touch of the game, start working the ball down the field, find some space, but Yor will stop that one before it can cross into dangerous territory.
Yeah, already, just off of the jump, the Jets are flying insanely fast on that ball, making an attempt and a shot on the net already. As, you know, again, Vitali is the first one to take the shot. and the defense holds strong there as it was Yor to get that save, but it just goes to show how quick that the Jets are already able to kind of mount an offense just going straight up off the kickoff, and now it's going back to the Spartans to try and develop a counterattack.
Yeah, we haven't seen any real possession right now in the first 45 seconds or so. I mean, there's been a little bit of control, but not too terribly much. And at the Premier League and standard at that, control of the field is everything. We're starting to see a little bit of that from the Jets right now as Wendell can settle this right now into the Spartans half. Just carrying this up the wall, trying to delay as long as he can. It's a nice shot by Duck, but Yor's going to keep that one off. The follow-up's going to be good for Vitality as he puts it in the bottom corner and nets the first one for the Jets here at game number 1.
This is to be expected. The first goal of the first game, everything's like a little messy. Not everybody's like clicking. They're not vibing. They're just kind of all over the place. They're not really finding themselves in the positions they need to be. So the first one, that's kind of like a toss-up. Again, it's just the 50-50 of the fall, for lack of better words. But it's pretty much what happens. People, are getting warmed up. It's the first game, so I expect some gobbledygook, if you would say, some nonsense, a little bit of a little bit of pish posh and poppycock going on the field, and that's pretty much just what happened. I don't think it's going to lead to anything huge for the Spartans, as already they're managing to tie this game right back up, only to even further prove my point.
Yeah, just huge counterattack here for Fat Folly. Just gets, I think, 3 touches total to best the entire Jets defense and just puts it in the bottom corner. Even Wendell, he could almost get back for that, but just not fast enough. First 90 seconds, we're seeing both these teams succeed offensively, but not necessarily find their footing defensively. And I think that defenses are going to win games like these where they're so close in skill level. You cannot be giving the ball up that easily, but Fat Folly recovers, keeps it off the goal line, and the counterattack can begin once again, keeping it down in the corner. Your pass out. He's going to find it off Duck's hood. 2-1. Spartans take the advantage.
Yeah, this was just some all-out speed right here coming from Yor. Being able to get the up and over, the swish and the flick to put this one right on in off the bill of Duck. And again, just beautiful amount of control coming out from Yor. Getting that solo play there, not just to get past one defender, but 2. So it's really nice to see some of the solo plays come out. But if I was on the side of the Jets, I'm waiting to see some of those team plays like we just saw, as Wendell is going to dish this one out to Vitali, out into the side, looking to get past both of these defenders as this one gets hit up high. And now it will be Minto to hit this one out to the corner, who is once again met by Wendell's shot on target, but nay, all that was for Folly, as Folly gets the save to clear it away.
Yeah, but the Spartans remain on defense still. They're not really able to find these strong clears, and that's just because they don't have that much midfield boost control right now. They don't even have their own back boost control. So right now, I mean, it continues on. We're about to cross halftime right now, and the Spartans have a marginal advantage at best, but they're starting to make their way down the field, and they're looking for some fancy plays as Minto looking for the flip reset, doesn't quite find it. Keeps it alive, though. Possession just stalling out in the corner right now. Right now for the Spartans, this is not the most comfortable of leads. One goal, I don't think, beats the Jets right now, and they're trying to get this control to move forward.
As much as I agree, I will have to say that I'd rather a 1-goal lead is better than none. So it's definitely good for them to see them, doing what it is that they have to do as they push down the field. Still, keeping them at 1 so far is still pretty good to the fact that, we're actually past halftime. But hold the phone, they still are managing to hold this one still and to keep that 1-goal lead.
Goodness gracious, it was a beautiful shot, but an even better save there. But the onslaught continues right now for the Jets. Off the ceiling waterfall, not going to find its mark as this ball just resides right around the midfield area. Yor will be up for it, but he's going to get a touch, not entirely in favor of his teammates' follow-up. But we got 90 seconds left. It's crunch time right now in game number 1. Both these teams have kind of showed us a little bit of what they're made of. And quite frankly, I think that while the Spartans have the 1-goal advantage, I think that a lot of the control has been in favor of the Jets, as it's going to be an open net that Vitali, no window will be able to get the shot. Yor respawned, but not fast enough to get that save. It's 2-2, looking to head to overtime.
Yeah, and a little bit of the demo meta coming in clutch there, and I really don't know what happened towards that end. You have Vitali and you had Wendell kind of both going for the same thing, and then, either way, as long as the ball drops, the ball drops. But that was like a little bit too close for comfort for me. I think we need to have just to be a little bit more clear on communication on who's going to go for that shot. But let's be clear, nothing is going to be able to stop Fat Folly from following this one up. Well done off the kickoff, an absolute screamer in the corner, and then catching their own pass to put it in the back of the net, and all the defender could do was watch.
Yeah, Kinduk right there just kind of looked like he couldn't decide if he wanted to go up the wall to hit it or wait for it to bounce back into his midfield, and unfortunately he chooses poorly, and now it's another advantage found for the Spartans here in game number 1. They're looking strong right now, and Jets, we have some questions, but I don't think that they're serious enough to make us question if they're going to get a good result in this series. We've seen what they're made of. We've seen the pace that they can bring to the pitch, and now it's the final 60 seconds right now. They're starting to find some control on offense once more. It's off the backboard. Minto's low, and Fat Folly will have to clean up the mistakes. Low boost all around right now for the Spartans as they're just trying to seek for every lifeline that they can. But now 40 seconds remaining. The onslaught's continuing for the Jets, but they're not able to net one as Wendell's shot just goes right outside the uprights.
Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit, I guess I'm seeing one too many double commits than for my liking, just to say it politely, because again, they had an open net opportunity, and it looked like, again, coming from the Jets that they had a double commit there, but luckily Wendell is going to let this one fall on the second attempt back around off the pass from Kitten Duck. A beautiful play coming out of the corner, and Wendell finally getting this one to drop. We'll tie it all up at 3, and I gotta say, the way that they played the corner was nothing short of fantastic, just because the corner plays is where you can trip up nearly every single defense.
No, absolutely, and not to mention that the corner play was immaculate for the Jets. It was also a showing of how unforced errors can pile up and then eventually just lead to your downfall. Spartans making 2 in the corner. I believe it was 1 mistouch and then 1 missed hit that led to the goal, but here comes the Spartans again. It's a nice shot, but an even better save by Kindug, keeping it off his own goal line. It looks like we're headed to overtime, but they want to score before end of regulation. Yours going to keep this off the side waterfall. It's floating dangerously. It's going to finally touch around the edge of the 6-yard box. The clock stops counting down. It begins to count up, and quite frankly, this is even of a ball game as we could ask for.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I wanted to come into a Premier League match in the first game. First game underway, and we're already into overtime. But I got to say, on that last play when the ball was still up, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who held their breath and will continue to do so, as Vitali is going to take their time and read this pass play from Wendell nearly perfectly in the shot placement to put it right in the far corner, barely skimming along the sidebar there to get the dub in overtime. Jets will take game number 1.
And that's the perfect play recognition out of Wendell right there. Noticing that York's cheating up on the front post, just opts to play it to the middle where Vitali just comes absolutely screaming through, buries into that bottom right-hand corner. And well, quite frankly, it's a 1-game advantage found for the Jets. As we move into game number 2, we saw good things out of both of these teams. I think from the Jets, we saw a lot of fast-paced offense and the counterattack being their strong suit. But the Spartans also proved that they were able to move down the field as a unit and start to work the ball in their favor. And I mean, against Vitali, at that, it's going to be a tough feat. But close results, Spartans certainly happy that they took it to overtime, but they're going to have to do better moving into game number 2 if they want to take a game off the Jets, who look like they're starting to warm up and only getting hotter from here.
Yeah, not to mention they were an absolute force on offense. We're looking at the shot count, and there's 14 shots coming from the Jets, while only 8 coming from the Spartans. And don't get me wrong, the Spartans were shooting at a higher shot percentage, going 3 for 8. But with that being said, if you're not taking the shots, you're going to make less goals. And that's just bottom line Rocket League. It's not rocket science. It's just pretty straightforward. And the Jets just maintained more possession of the ball. They took more shots. But I will say, to the benefit of the Spartans, they dominated the midfield, and they were able to recover 8 saves between 2 players, 2 savior medals on the board. So they're playing, exceptionally well. Now it's just about execution and being able to secure the win.
No, absolutely. Execution is everything, and I think that we saw signs of life out of both these teams. But now we head into Neo Tokyo, game number 2 of this series, and now we got to start getting into the mumbo jumbo that makes these teams or separates them from the rest of the pack. I like consistent gameplay, making sure that they can keep control against whoever they play against. Right now, a little bit of some early signs of life out of the Spartans as a passing play between Yor and Mento. It combines together and finds the first for the Spartans early on.
I really don't know which was better on this play, the pass or the shot, just because Minto getting in front of that ball, being the fresh maker to bring that pass play into fruition, leaving it nice and open for Yor to just come in and then get such an insane angle. It's really hard to tell which part was better, the shot or the pass. Either way, that's going to be a 1-goal lead early for the Spartans.
Yeah, 2 shots already found for the Spartans right now. It's exactly what you would want after coming off of an unfortunate loss in overtime. And they're looking even to find a second. Minto should be able to get another touch on this, but no. Off the backboard once again, keeping this onslaught. Double commits coming out of the Jets and starting to get scary on defense, but so far it hasn't crumbled just yet. This ball not being allowed to cross that midfield line as it just gets repeatedly bombarded onto the Jets backboard. First minute of gameplay so far, it's been all Spartans control right now, and if they can't find these strong clears soon, it's going to continue to spell disaster. Another shot by Minto goes off the crossbar, and now closing in on that 90-second mark, it's been all Spartans so far in game number 2.
And it's funny because that's kind of how the Jets started out in game number 1. You know, they were firing off all cylinders, like straight from kickoff. It was offense, 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 shots, 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 shots coming from the Jets. And now it looks like the Spartans are kind of adapting that play style for themselves. As right now, we don't even have a single shot on target coming from the Jets just yet. It really has been all Spartans. So to see them adapt to the play style of the Jets and then use it against them, it's part of the reason why we watch Rocket League.
Yeah, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and right now Spartans have netted 6 of them. Compare that to the 0 found by the Jets. It's definitely a statistic that's going to start hurting them in the long run, as Spartans just seem to have complete dominance over both the corner boosts right now. Minto's stealing the one on the far side, and I believe you're getting the one on the near side. Not entirely sure of that or the names behind that, but it doesn't really matter. Right now, offensive dominance being shown by the Spartans and just controlling the midfield to perfection right now. The Jets just look so low. They're flying without a destination, and unfortunately that's spelling a loss right now on Neo Tokyo unless they start changing things up.
Yeah, they definitely need to get out of their own half. And now one thing I will say to the benefit of the Jets is that they are holding a pretty good line at their net. Granted that, you know, all the shots are being taken by the Spartans right now, and they have 7 shots taken on target, but still the Jets managed to recover 5 saves, and then now finally are getting a goal of their own, holding on for so long just for the one glimpse of light of an offensive opportunity, and they took it. And then Minto just kind of flying by there a little bit, you know, looking like a little bit of a goofy goober going through that one. But regardless, we're all tied up at 1 now.
Yeah, it looked a little bit strange seeing that being the goal that the Jets score, but they're looking to find a second one in quick succession. The passing play, Vitali comes off the corner and just not able to find that goal. The follow coming through, and it's almost like a Freaky Friday situation right now. It seems like the tables have turned. It seems like the Jets are having this pressure and not letting the ball cross the midfield for too terribly long. That is, until the Spartans can finally catch up, keep possession at that. It's a little bit crazy to see the Jets turn the switch on so quickly and start moving down the field as a unit so much more confidently, and you can really see it in their gameplay. They did so on 1 occasion, on 2 shots total. They found their first goal.
And you know, that's one of the many things that I love about Rocket League, especially watching here at MLE, is being able to see so much happen in such a short amount of time. Like you just said, they were able to turn the switch on and completely turn the game around in what seemed like mere seconds. And now we're just all squared away, even up at 1, and when just off the bat like that, it's already anybody's ball game. You know, we're back up, even all squared away, and it's going to be Vitali who's going to clear that one away and send this one back into the Spartans' half, as Fat Folly is going to try and drag this one out into the corner, met by opposition, but will win the 50-50 and hits this one right back down to Vitali, and following this one up into the midfield as it goes right down to Fat Folly again, looking for Yor out there on the side, clearing it off the backboard, and it will find its way back to Vitality in the midfield.
Yeah, it just seems like these teams are stabilizing a little bit, and for the Jets, it's in a positive way. For the Spartans, it's in a bit of a negative way. All of that control in the early game has seemingly disappeared after the first minute or so, or the last minute or so. Meanwhile, the Jets are starting to equalize and get some opportunities downfield. Now, it still is a 1-1 scoreline. We've got 30 seconds remaining, and we can't determine the victor just yet. But right now, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of both these teams. It seems like they both have a pretty consistent gameplay style, and they're exploiting that to their best abilities. The question now is going to be whose game plan resounds the best and what resonates among the fields over here on Neo Tokyo. So 10 seconds remaining. It's a slow roller. Fat Folly just completely turns around, puts it in the bottom corner, is looking to send us out of this game in regulation, tying the series up.
Yes, and this just goes to show how much impact a small touch can honestly have. Because Minto just coming right underneath the ball there, barely got any influence whatsoever, but was able to get that grounder all the way to the other side of the pitch, where Fat Folly was just there and waiting, kind of cherry picking a little bit, and it just, again, just that small touch from Minto is what set up for an easy goal, and that will be the game, and that will actually lead to the victory for the Spartans here in game number 2.
You know, this is the perfect result for the Spartans right now. I mean, you're coming off the back of a pretty frustrating loss in overtime in the sense of nobody likes losing in overtime, but this kind of a response, especially in the early to mid-game, I mean, 9 shots recorded by the Spartans. Compare that to just the 4 of the Jets. I mean, we needed to see some more offensive prowess out of the Spartans, and I think that's exactly what we saw. Now, moving into game number 3, it's effectively a 0-0 scoreline, and we've got 3 games remaining. So, with the scores all equaled up, I think that the Jets are the ones who need to bounce back a little bit. The Spartans proved they can rebound. Now the Jets are the ball that's bouncing off the cement. We'll have to see if they stick or bounce farther up in the air.
Yeah, I think the Jets really need to bring back kind of like that lights out offense that we were seeing in game number 1. You know, they need to like really start striking the boards here, because they just got absolutely outshot in this game, where clearly the Spartans recovering 9 shots. And thank you for the OCD right here, 3-3-3, perfect for each player on the Spartan team. It just looks so phenomenal. So if the Jets are going to want to make a comeback, they're either going to have to find an answer for their offense, coming from the Spartans and being able to limit the amount of shots that they take, or they're just going to have to mimic and try and outshoot them at their own game, because you really need to get that ball out of your own half if you have any type of hope to get anything done against the Spartan offense.
Yeah, and you think you were harping on it just a little bit at Soka. The teams that are normally shooting a little bit more are normally the ones that are winning these games, and defense is going to win you championships right now. This might not be a grand final, but it definitely is a game that's worth winning at that. So I'm looking to see these defenses step up a little bit. The rotations have been slightly sloppy, but that's certainly something that you can fix with some better communication and a little bit better of a game plan moving forward. The 1-minute breaks certainly to help with that. The Jets already resorting to these booming clears, and Vitali's going to be the benefactor of one of them. 1-0. Great start for the Jets, bouncing back after that loss and showing their offense once again.
Yeah, you see, I really don't even think Minto did anything wrong in that play. It was a good touch. They cleared it out of the way. It was just a beautiful read coming from Vitality to read the touch off of Minto and getting that read to follow through and end up putting the ball into the back of the net. But as a response, here comes your putting this one on target and the follow-up from Fat Folly. And if there's anything that we know about Rocket League, the best passes often come from missed shots. And a beautiful save from Wendell will unfortunately lead to an easy goal from Fat Folly.
It's just a great collapse right there for the Spartans. They say in soccer the best time to score is immediately after your opponents have, and that's exactly what the Spartans went out and did. First 30 seconds, we've already got an equalized scoreline, and Fat Folly's looking to do it again. Can't find the second jump, rather the third hit to make it onto the ball. But we're seeing both these teams and their offense succeeding, but it also kind of feels like a Wild West shooting gallery right now, where neither of these defenses are able to perform in the same manner as they're going to have to against such offensively dependent teams right now.
It's funny that you say that, because we clearly saw, in the previous game with the Jets, they tried, opting out for that defensive play style, and it just didn't, go their way. They ended up, falling late into that game. Granted, they were able to recover many saves, but they couldn't get the job done on the opposite end of the pitch. So, I mean, I'm completely understanding why they want to opt out for this shooting gallery and just going all-out shots off the back of the net, going off the backboard, because, if something's not working for you, you got to change it up. So I'm liking this change of play style from heavy defense to now more offense coming from the Jets.
Yeah, it seems like they've put all of their cards on striking right now, and they haven't been able to find that advantage goal just yet, but that certainly will change in the next 3 minutes and 30 seconds or so. So Wendell's going to take another shot. It's bouncing off the ceiling, and it's just a great touch just to put in the bottom corner, like shooting fish in a barrel, and Wendell's found it all the way through.
Yep, Wendell and Vitali just getting that 1-2 pass play. Wendell kicking it out to Vitali, Vitali hitting it back down to Wendell. Just the good old back and forth will more than likely pay off, and it does for them there. And it was just a lot more control. I'm seeing a lot more control and a lot more confidence coming from the Jets right now. Like every time they hit it, it's going either towards a player or it's going towards the net. They're just showing a lot more control with the ball, and they're maintaining a lot more possession, which could lead up to a win here for the Jets. But it's going to be up to the Spartans to find an answer for this new Jet offense that we're seeing here in game number 3, as they will continue to add on to the scoreline. We are now 3-1 in favor of the Jets.
What a brilliant touch by Wendell here, right off the bumper of the Fennec. Cool as a cucumber, 3-1 now. And Jets starting to build a bit more of a comfortable lead now. It's a great confidence-building goal right there, just to show the teamwork and show that the game strategy is working out. I mean, we've only played 2 minutes of Rocket League so far, and it's already huge positives right now for the Jets. One thing from the Spartans is you were talking about it just a second ago at Ahsoka, that the control hasn't been there, and really control is what's going to win you these games. Spartans in game number 2 had almost all of the control. I mean, there were stretches where it was 30 seconds to a minute of just consistent shots onto the Jets net, but that's completely changed from game number 2. It's a whole new game, and it's a whole new style out of the Jets as well. Spartans have failed to adapt so far. Now, across halftime, and still there's plenty of Rocket League left to play. If your opponent can score 3 goals in 2.5 minutes, then so can you, as it's demolition derby in the yellow half, and Jets will come away with another.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge fan of the physical bump plays. I want to see some demolitions. I want to see the fireworks pop off, and right now the Jets are delivering on that. And that demo play just led up for a nice goal, and you really can't be mad at the demo meta. It's paying off for you, even in, the MLE. Going for these demo plays is going to open up such a huge advantage, and you really cannot blame them for taking advantage of it.
No, absolutely. I mean, you would rather take a shot at an open net. I'm saying open net, but that doesn't even matter for Vitali right now. He comes off the sidewall. Just look at the composure. Flips into the ball right off the inside of his bumper. Doesn't matter how fast he shoots that. That's a brilliant shot right there. 5-1 now, and Vitali's put one in for play of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, don't get me wrong, they have a pretty solid scoreline here in game number 3. But with that being said, there's still plenty of time on the clock for the Spartans to make a comeback or even try and get some consolation goals heading into the next game. So, I'm not counting anybody out just yet. There's still, again, plenty of time left on that clock. And, I've seen crazier things happen in Rocket League.
No, absolutely. Any lead can be cut down almost immediately as it's taken, but instead of chopping down the tree, it seems like Jets keep adding branches to the top. 6-1 now, closing in on the Brazil slowly. The defense out of the Spartans seemingly crumbling right now in the later half of this game, and well, it's not boding well. The comeback only becoming harder and harder as minutes continue to tick by.
Yeah, after that one, it is looking a little bit dimmer now for the Spartans, but just to add even more note to it, Rocket League is a very momentum-based game, and right now the Jets are just running away with the momentum, and they're just not stopping whatsoever. The attack has yet to cease, as now it's going to be to get the clear out from 2 offenders taking the shots on that one, and that could have been very dangerous. We could have been seeing a Brazil, but Fat Folly will deny the trip, as that will be an epic save. But hold the phone, here you go. We are headed to Brazil. Wendell will now make the game 7-1.
Yeah, it looks like York tried to cut the rotation a bit too early, expecting somebody to be rotating in on that far post, and it ends up not being the wisest decisions. And, well, like you said, we have hit that Brazil, now 7-1. The offense has just come out in spades right now for the Jets. But one thing for the Spartans is I think that in games high scoring like these, at some point you just kind of let your comms relax a little bit and start talking about the next game up ahead, because this is a 7-1 scoreline. The odds of you coming back from this are starting to get a little bit slim. I think within this first minute, I think that it's pretty safe to say that the Jets will be taking this one at the end of the day. Now moving forward into game number 4, where quite frankly nothing in game number 3 went your way. Now there's some changes that need to be made. I think the main one is just the rotations need to be a little bit tidier. I mean, I think that it's leading to what led to their control in game number 2 is what's being their detriment now in game number 3. And well, 7-1 scoreline, it certainly hurts to swallow, but you've got 2 more games coming up that you've got to be ready for.
Yeah, and even as the final seconds kind of tick away here in game number 3, you still want to like go for those goals and go for shots. Try and get some consolation goals. Get one for the road if you have to. Anything to end the drought, because there's nothing worse going into the next match being on a score drought where you've been held. What has it been now? 6 goals unanswered, and you really don't want to have that mentality going in. So when it comes to like the final seconds of game, you never want to give up. But unfortunately, the clock will run out and the ball will hit the ground, and the Jets win game number 3 with a Brazil.
And they take the swing game at that too, hitting that middle of the series game and taking it and knocking it underneath their own belt. So Jets, I mean, this was a relatively mistake-free game out of them. Sure, they had to make saves and their defense did start to work, I believe, around the middle of the game. But, I mean, 12 shots and finding 7 on that, I think that shows just offensive efficiency out of the Jets and a little bit of defensive confusion coming out of the Spartans. Now, there's still plenty of Rocket League left to go. We've got 2 more games coming your way just right after this. But Spartans, I mean, finding 6 shots and only getting 1 goal off of it, that's not the kind of scoreline that you need, rather the stat line that is in your favor. So you got to start manipulating the game to fit your style, and Spartans just not able to assert that type of gameplay over the Jets here in game number 3, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the Spartans have made their mistakes. There was a double commit here and there, but it wasn't anything that was too atrocious. It wasn't something that was crazy way out there in left field. It was just common mistakes that we see happen in nearly every single Rocket League match. So what I'm starting to think to myself is that, I'm thinking that maybe for the Spartans, they need to be a little bit speedier, because one thing that I did notice is they got beat on the ball nearly every single challenge, and like the Jets were taking every single 50. So I'm starting to think that maybe the Spartans need to be a little bit more speedier, like we saw in game number 2, and really start again taking control and being able to harness that speed and put it in the right direction, because once again the Jets were just firing off on all cylinders last game, on defense and on offense. So we really need to see the Spartans start, like you said, to tidy up a little bit on their rotations.
Yeah, I mean, what better place to do it than Utopia Coliseum at dusk time? They're going to try to find some answers to their questions starting now, but the Jets find themselves on offense once again, taking over complete control of the left side of the field and forcing Minto to make saves that just go right underneath his crossbar. Possession is remaining right now for the Jets, and Kidduck is bumping everybody out of the way. First 30 seconds right now, we're seeing more of the speedy offensive control out of the Jets. The Spartans, they find themselves on the half for the vast majority of these opening seconds.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Yor there. I felt like Yor kind of hit that one just a tad bit too early. It looked like they still have time to get more control of that and just kind of push it down to the other side of the field. And now they have an opportunity, but it's Kittenduck who gets there back first and is able to clear this one away back towards the midfield, as Yor is now going to hit this towards Vitali, who puts it into the corner of the Spartans. Met again by Kittenduck on the side, has Wendell in the midfield, but Wendell opted out for the retreat, and now the possession will go to the Spartans.
Yeah, Spartans right now have seen probably 2 chances that the Jets haven't been able to capitalize on, and I think that's confidence building, at least for your defense. Now, it's about turning the tables into your own favor and getting these offensive opportunities down on your own half. Spartans right now still failing to make it out of the midfield, and, well, if this continues up, it's going to be a long game. No one likes to sit on defense for as long as possible. They always want to be on offense. That's where the fun of Rocket League comes out. But Yor and the coach, they're looking to change that right now. I mean, they're trying to work the ball down the field, trying to keep it in some offensively favorable position for the Spartans. But right now, no success found really on either side. Jets not finding a goal, and neither are the Spartans. It's a neutral game right now as we cross that first 90 seconds of play.
Yep, almost paying off for the tactical whiff there, but it's going to be a counterattack from Kittenduck. And I have to say, I love what I'm seeing right now. Just to touch on what you were talking about, we're talking about, all these challenges that are taken, and, seeing how much time has passed. We're 2 minutes are already gone from play, and we're still 0-0. So it's already an entirely different ball game than what we saw in the previous setup. And now, what I'm seeing the most, and what I'm really liking, is that we're seeing a battle in the midfield. Like, we're seeing both teams kind of volley it, and all the challenges being made are being made at the midfield. So I really like this fight that's going on in the center of the pitch, and it just goes to show that right now both of these teams kind of have each other's number.
Yeah, we talk about having the majority of the control right there, and having the midfield at that is incredibly crucial, but Yor comes out of the corner. What kind of an angle was this? Puts it off his bumper. I have to watch this one again because this was fantastic.
Yep, just an absolute laser coming off the backboard and being able to read that to get such a high-speed shot at such a close range. Again, no one would be able to save that one even on their best day. That was just a beautiful backboard read coming from Yor, and now they have the 1-goal advantage as Vitali looks to get the equalizer but will not find the back of the net. Instead, they only find Spartans, as this is going to go back towards the Spartan corner, as it will be Kitten Duck looking for the equalizer, but again, it will go off the backboard.
Yeah, right now we're seeing Spartans kind of fall into phalanx formation right now, and that's certainly not the way you want to start playing. I mean, 1-0, you've got the 1-goal advantage, but now is not the time to park the bus per se. You want to continue to control that midfield zone, and right now they have not found that. Now it's off the backboard. Once again, Yor sweeps in but doesn't make contact. It's going to fall back out to midfield where Fat Folly will be tasked with the 50 to keep his team in the front. They will do so, keep the ball in their control, keep possession for the time being, but no other goals have been found, and Jets are scrambling, trying to find their first here in game number 4.
And now Fat Folly with the 50-50 as this one will go back towards the midfield, and now back again towards the Jets half as Wendell will take control now, trying to use the Finette to get the flick, and it will go up to Vitali, met by Minto on the side, as now it will go nice and high for Kitten Duck, but we have 2 defenders on the back wall there and waiting to get that clear, as this one will drop back down for Minto, who puts this towards the mid, met again by Wendell. Wendell now looking to put this into the corner, but a whiff will have Kitten Duck coming in clutch to keep this one out of the net just for time being, as Vitali has to come up clutch with a defensive play to get the save.
And he gets demoed immediately after as well. It's back on offense for the Spartans, and finally the power play pays off. 2-0 Spartans, looking like they have a whole lot more of the control, reminiscent of what we saw in game number 2. This is just a beautiful play by the Spartans. They flip the switch, they score the goal, double the advantage, and twice the mountain to climb now for the Jets.
And this is why you just don't give up on a play. Like, if there's any advice that any Rocket League player, aspiring to move up into the ranks and just better your game, it's not to give up on the play. And the Spartans just showed us exactly why. Like, they shot again, and it was save after save coming from the Jets. And then finally, there was an opportunity, because with every shot you take, you're pulling a defender out of position, and it's making it difficult for them to get back into defensive positioning, and it really messes up their defensive rotation. So the fact that they didn't give up on that play was eventually going to lead to them scoring the goal that they now have with the insurance, making it 2-0, and now just 10 seconds, but hold the phone, let's see if we can get 3, and no, as Kitten Duck will get the save to send this one the other way, but I think it's pretty much all but over except the crime.
Yeah, I think the clock's going to wind down. All of this is just but a formality at this point. The Spartans will be taking game number 4, and we're heading into game 5 with no clear victor determined yet. We don't know exactly who's going to be taking home the majority of the games, but I think that if this game is anything to speak of, just the control that we saw out of Spartans, reminiscent of game number 2, I think that if they can take that control into game number 5, I think they have a pretty easy path to victory. Now, Jets got kind of caught lacking a little bit towards the end of that game. There were some double commits, there were some near post rotations when they should have been far. All of these small little mistakes at the Premier League level can start to deteriorate at your confidence, at your speed, at your gameplay, and well, quite frankly, it was a thousand little things that eventually collapsed the defense.
Yeah, there was nothing too spectacular to point out where was the problem with the Jets in that game. There wasn't really anything clear. It was a pretty tight-knit game from start to finish. There was very few mistakes made on both sides. It was just the Spartans finding the opportunity, finding the gap in order to, get the ball into the back of the net. And now granted that, they were able to recover one pass play, which is great, but then they also got served from a beautiful solo play from Yor earlier on. And then, they just rode that 1-goal momentum and just held on to it. And then they let that develop into more offense leading down the road to get that insurance right at the few last ticking seconds. And now it comes all down to this. We are now in game number 5.
Yeah, and it's not just your everyday game number 5 here in the minor league esports. It's seeing who's going to take control. Now, right now, the Jets are 6-4. The Spartans are 5-5 right now. A win in this series for the Spartans, taking home that third game, would, I believe, put them tied up, if not equal, with the Jets. So a lot on the line here in terms of the Forge division and seeing how the leaderboard steps up. But first 15 seconds, we already see an opportunity come out of the Spartans, but Jets are looking to retaliate quickly, move the ball down the field, and put the Spartans on the back foot.
And again, this is like a lot that we've seen coming from the Jets. And there it is in spectacular fashion. The first goal falling for the Jets as we have seen them do. And again, just got to give shout out to Kitten Duck to get this one out to Vitali. And then Vitali with the highlight reel double touch off the backboard will get the 1-goal lead to get them the momentum early here in game number 5.
All right, Vitali, we see you, man. He gets a second right as I start to talk. This man has just decided, yep, the Jets are winning this game, and I'm going to be the one who does it. An incredible performance in the first 30 seconds, finds 2 goals at that. More points than both his teammates combined. Right now, Vitali is popping off. We'll see if he can keep up this level of juiciness for the rest of the game, but it's the final 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. It's not a marathon anymore. It's a whole sprint. Vitali's coming out of the block strong.
Yeah, and not only that, but that pass play also came off of Kitten Duck. So now Kitten Duck is 2 for 2 in terms of assists. So now, I mean, you really got to ask yourself, when you see Vitali going out there and he's hitting, you're going to want to give him the ball. So you really got to ask yourself, if my teammate's hitting, just feed him. I just got to keep feeding them. That's really all you have to do. And that's what they're doing right now. Just keep feeding the ball to the person that's scoring the most. But right now, you know, it's still plenty of time left. They were able to score first 2 goals in less than a minute, but that still gives plenty of time for the Spartans to really come up with a counter answer, as they are now down 2, you know, relatively early here in game number 5.
Yeah, it took 30 seconds for Vitali and Kitten Duck to combine for their first 2, and there's at least 30 seconds more for the Spartans to get back into this. But I think that what that deteriorates at is the confidence, though. I mean, you get scored on in the first 30 seconds that quickly. Now it's suddenly a 2-0. Jets have a comfortable advantage. If you're a Spartans player on the field right now, you are not feeling too hot about your chances. But life is all about what you make it, and so is this game of car soccer, as Fat Volley will put another one in, rather the first one in for the Spartans, cut the deficit to half and make them out a little bit easier to climb.
Yep, and that's exactly what we're talking about. So much can happen in such a short allotted time, and especially when you have the Spartans on the field, they will take advantage of every single second. So now we have ourselves a ball game again. They take the insurance away from the Jets, so now the Jets are going to have to try their best to hold on to this 1-goal lead for another 13 minutes and 10 seconds, as this one will go back towards the midfield, and Vitali putting it into Fat Folly with a demolition, and now Kitten Duck will get the 50 off of Minto to put this towards the middle. But Fat Folly will get in the way and clog up the net, and they will get the save to send this one back towards the midfield.
Yeah, right now, a little bit of back and forth going right now. Nothing really too out of the ordinary, as the Jets have taken the early lead, but Spartans are starting to bounce back now. But we're about to cross halftime right now. The advantage is still there for the Jets. The longer that the Spartans are not able to equalize, the more and more that's going to hurt their mentality. But the shots aren't raining in, and Minto is being the plus decider right now. But no goals found just yet. Window looking for a third at that, make the deficit back to 2, but he doesn't find it. Keeping it over here on this side while is Minto, who's just doing whatever he can with whatever boost he has to get the ball out. We cross halftime now at Soka, and quite frankly, I still don't have any idea who's going to win this game.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the momentum is looking like, you know, for the Jets right now, just because they have the 1-goal advantage. But again, you know, I don't want to cast this curse nobody. But with that being said, one thing that I did notice about this game is, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong, by all means, if cap is cap, and let me know. But I think this is probably the most physical play that we've seen in this series here in game number 5. But no physical play will be needed from Kitten Duck. Just a good old-fashioned fundamental pass play from Kitten to Wendell to put this one in the back of the net. Now they have their insurance goal back.
Yeah, and Kitten Duck right now has got that playmaker medal right now. I mean, 3 assists, and we still got 2 minutes left to go. Shout-outs to you, man. You are playing strong, but the Spartans are going to have to combat that. And right now, they've got to find 2 goals. They got a little bit less than 2 minutes to do that. And right now, the Jets are just playing unrelenting. Spartans are jumping for balls, but it's seemingly with no form of confidence. 4-1 now. Vitali finds himself a hat trick now, and right now, Spartans, something's going to have to change soon because time's starting to run out.
Yeah, Wendell came up absolutely clutch on that challenge. Not just getting the dunk, but getting the dunk on 2 defenders to keep that ball into the danger and make an easy shot for Vitali. But I also got to give a shout out to Kitten Duck coming in to clear the way and get in the way of any defenders that were hoping to get into the way of that ball. But now a nice dunk will put this towards the danger, and Yor will put it towards the back of the net. They just cut the lead in half, 4-2 now, and the Spartans are back in it.
Yeah, 90 seconds left. It's in the crunch time of this game number 5, but Yor has given themselves a chance to move forward. 2 goals in 90 seconds. Not that tall of a hill to climb at that, but they're going to have to keep up this pressure right now. Window's looking to just boom this ball as far out as possible. Right now, if you are the Jets, this is kind of a park the bus scenario. You've got a 2-goal advantage, still got a little bit of a cushion on the scoreboard, and well, Spartans, they certainly want to find one quickly, and Yor's looking to change just that. Vitali's clear, flies all the way out to midfield, and Window will get the last touch, looking for the aerial, but he's not able to make contact on that. Final 60 seconds and change. Spartans need an answer quick. They're starting to get their opponent's boost control. Vitali and Kid Duck almost combined for an insane shot to find the 5th, but they don't do that. Now, the Golden Text has appeared on screen. We've got less than 60 seconds to go. Yor's going to keep this down in the corner, but no. Window to clear it away, and Vitali just immediately ready for the clear. This 1-2 punch on these clears is proving to be deadly and suffocating right now for the Spartans. They've got 30 seconds and a little bit more than that to find 2 goals, and quite frankly, it's not looking too good.
And yeah, right now, honestly, it just seems like the Jets started on offense and they just have not stopped, taking shot after shot. Even when they're in their own half, they're still sending the ball on target all the way from the other side of the pitch. And I really think that's what's working for them so far. And then what could have been a goal was saved and cleared away by Kitten Duck. But I think right now for the Jets, it's the best defense is a good offense. And honestly, it's working for them. Just don't stop taking shots. Keep the Spartans in their own half and keep them, force them to continue to make saves, because right now the clock is not their friend, and it will put the win up there for the Jets as the ball finally touches and the clock has run out. The Jets will take the series in game number 5.
Yeah, the Jets go to 9-6, and the Spartans go to 7-8, I believe. So it's this table stays relatively the same, but at least for the Jets, this is a great result. I think Kid Duck and Vitali combining in the way that they did absolutely cemented this game number 5. We saw very early on Kid Duck getting those 2 crucial passes, Vitality putting in some beautiful goals at that. The teamwork for the Jets was quite simply just better, and the rotations were quite simply just a little bit more tight, as the Jets will take this victory at the end, take home the majority of the games against the Spartans, and at a good showing at that.
Yeah, and I'm just going to give a little bit of Cap's analysis here, because what we just saw, honestly, was just the Jets taking such an early lead and getting that momentum early. They clicked early, they were able to take what they needed, and then the Spartans really started to click more towards the later half, but it was just too little too late. Like, if the Spartans were playing the way they had in the second half of the game into the first, we might be in overtime right now. So it's really not to say that the Spartans did anything wrong, it was just too little too late. And then I think the Jets really knew what had happened. They got the early lead, all they had to do was hold on to it, like you said, park the bus, while still keeping the Spartans in their half playing defense. But that will wrap it up for this game here between the Spartans and the Jets. But do not go anywhere. We still have more Rocket League here at Minor League Esports, presented by APM Music, coming up next. Do not go anywhere. Captain's orders.